In January of this year, the world lost one of its most visionary and celebrated film directors, David Lynch. A filmmaker of rare and uncompromising talent, Lynch was never afraid to shock, disturb, or even horrify his audience. He had an uncanny ability to create deeply unsettling images, scenes that linger in the mind long after the credits roll. But beyond his ability to provoke, he was, above all, a profoundly visual director. His films were almost like moving paintings imbued with layers of meaning, rich symbolism, and a dreamlike quality that made them feel simultaneously familiar and alien. His mastery of atmosphere, setting, and composition placed him in the company of other cinematic titans like Stanley Kubrick and Alfred Hitchcock. Among the many fascinating chapters in Lynch's career, one of the most intriguing is his 1984 adaptation of Dune, Frank Herbert's epic sci-fi novel. While Lynch would become best known for his surreal, psychological storytelling, Dune was a rare foray into large-scale science fiction, one that ultimately became one of the most controversial and troubled productions of his career. Frank Herbert's Dune is often regarded as the greatest science fiction novel ever written. It is a sprawling, intricate work of political intrigue, philosophical depth, and ecological themes, set against the backdrop of a distant future where interstellar travel is made possible by the mysterious spice melange.
The spice. He knows about the spice.
Found only on the desert planet of Arrakis.
The spice melange.
Many have pointed to Dune as an allegory of the Middle East and its control over oil, the precious resource that fuels Western civilization. Herbert's novel explores the intoxicating power of spice, not just as a means of space travel, but as a highly addictive substance, drawing a striking parallel to humanity's dependence on fossil fuels. Bringing Dune to the screen was a challenge that had defeated several filmmakers before Lynch. Visionary directors such as Alejandro Jodorowsky had attempted and failed to turn Herbert's complex narrative into a workable film. It was ultimately producer Dino De Laurentiis and his daughter Raffaella who succeeded in getting the project off the ground. De Laurentiis, known for producing grand, often flamboyant films like Flash Gordon and Conan the Barbarian, saw Dune as another potential blockbuster. But while Flash Gordon embraced its pulpy, campy origins, Dune was an entirely different beast, a novel of staggering ambition and complexity that demanded a filmmaker capable of bringing both spectacle and intellect to the screen.
Spice melange.
David Lynch, fresh off the success of The Elephant Man, was an unexpected but exciting choice. Though he had never made a science fiction film before, his unique artistic sensibilities and ability to craft unforgettable imagery seemed well suited to the task. Upon reading Dune, Lynch fell in love with the story and was eager to take on the challenge. However, what he did not foresee was the creative battle that lay ahead. The fundamental problem was that Lynch, despite his creative genius, had no final cut on the project. De Laurentiis retained control over the film's editing, meaning the producer had the final say on its structure and pacing. Lynch poured years of effort into the project, working tirelessly to bring the world of Arrakis to life. He assembled an extraordinary cast, including Kyle MacLachlan in his breakout role as Paul Atreides, supported by such actors as Patrick Stewart, Max von Sydow, and Jürgen Prochnow. The film's production design was stunning, with intricate set pieces and a haunting visual aesthetic that reflected Lynch's signature style. However, despite all the artistry involved, Dune ultimately suffered from a fundamental conflict of vision. At its core, Dune was meant to be an epic, cerebral, and layered piece of science fiction, but De Laurentiis, a producer with a flair for mass-market appeal, shaped the final cut into something more akin to a conventional popcorn movie, a hero's journey with a clear-cut villain, special effects and spectacle, but little room for the depth and nuance that made Herbert's novel so revered. The result was a film that felt simultaneously overstuffed and underdeveloped. The dense mythology of Dune was crammed into a rushed 2-hour runtime, leaving many plot points and character arcs feeling truncated or incoherent. Perhaps most frustratingly, Dune was caught in an awkward position between two vastly different tones. It lacked the swashbuckling, self-aware fun of Flash Gordon, failing to be an enjoyable space opera. At the same time, it fell short of delivering the grandeur and sophistication necessary to succeed as a serious, adult-oriented science fiction epic. It was, in many ways, a film at war with itself. Lynch later described the experience as one of the greatest disappointments of his career. He reportedly enjoyed filming the process, but as editing approached, he became painfully aware that the final product was slipping out of his control. Adding to the film's woes was the fact that its core narrative had, in some ways, already been adapted, unofficially, by George Lucas.
Oh my God, George Lucas!
Star Wars, now known as A New Hope, borrowed heavily from Dune, reworking many of its key story beats into a more accessible and commercially viable structure. Paul Atreides' journey closely mirrors that of Luke Skywalker. Patrick Stewart's character, Gurney Halleck, serves a role not unlike that of Obi-Wan Kenobi, mentoring the hero, training him to fight, and guiding him toward his destiny. But where Star Wars replaced Dune's complex political and philosophical underpinnings with a simple good versus evil narrative, Lynch's Dune was forced to squeeze dense lore into an unwieldy runtime. Making matters worse, Dune lacked an iconic villain. The Baron Harkonnen and his lackeys, including Sting's over-the-top Fade Rautha, simply did not have the same dramatic presence as Darth Vader and Grand Moff Tarkin. The end result was a film that pleased neither audiences nor critics. It was neither a rousing adventure nor a deeply compelling drama. Dune failed to recapture the magic of Flash Gordon as a guilty pleasure, nor did it succeed as an artistic triumph in the way Lynch had hoped. It was, in many ways, a missed opportunity, a film that held potential for greatness, but was undone by creative compromises. That said, Dune is not without its merits. Even in its compromised form, Lynch's fingerprints are all over it. The film contains stunning, well-crafted visuals, surreal imagery, and moments of haunting beauty that feel unmistakably Lynchian. The performances, particularly from Kyle MacLachlan, give the film a degree of gravitas. For fans of Lynch, Dune remains an intriguing curiosity, an artifact of what could have been. Watching it today feels like looking at the Mona Lisa after someone has defaced it with a moustache, drawn in marker pen. The brilliance is still there, hidden beneath the layers of interference and miscalculation. In the end, Dune is a film that stands as both a cautionary tale and a fascinating cinematic relic. It is a masterpiece that never fully came to be, a flawed gem, buried beneath the weight of studio interference and clashing creative visions. And yet, for all those who love David Lynch, there is still something to appreciate in its madness, its ambition, and its undeniable visual power.
Father! Father! The sleeper has awakened!
Cut the time down.
What is this with everybody?
No.
What is it? Really?
only me, it's
Why?
my fault.
I'm serious. Fucking A, man. It drives me nuts. Who gives a fucking shit how long a scene is?